Guys, so welcome back to the second part of the co-management nugget. I hope you had a chance to go through the first one wherein I went through the theoretical part and explained what co-management is and why do we need it. So now this is the interesting part wherein I'm going to demonstrate everything that we discussed on the first part. So let me just go to the beginning and all right, so someplace here wherein we were discussing the sequence and the steps, that is here. So we are going to follow the entire sequence and the entire steps from here, right from step 1. And as you can see, when we discussed that there needs to be 3 prerequisites. The first prerequisite is we need to have the config manager server, which I already have. It's running with version 1902. I already have 2 devices which are joined to the on-prem domain, and the Azure AD Connect tool has already been set up and the devices are currently in hybrid Azure AD joint state. So let me just show you guys my Intune portal first. This is my Intune portal, and right now you can see that I have 2 devices which are co-managed. One is called Extra Client 1 and the other one is called Extra Client 2. However, if I go to the hypervisor, let me just show you guys my hypervisor and the machines that I have made ready for the for the sake of this demonstration. So I have got 2 devices. I'm at the wrong place. All right, yeah, over here. So I have got 2 devices. One is called co-managed 2 and the other one is called co-management demo. These 2 devices are Windows 10 devices which are joined to the on-prem domain and are hybrid Azure AD joined. Other than that, nothing has been done in these 2 devices. So we are at this position as of this moment. Let me just show you guys my portal as well. As you can see, those 2 devices, those 2 co-managed 2 and co-management demo devices are not over here, meaning they are not enrolled. However, they are hybrid Azure AD joined. So if I go to the portal and I do this, you can see that I've got 2 devices which are hybrid Azure AD joined, co-management and co-management dem and co-manage 2. So we are going to do the demonstration on these 2 devices as of this moment. And you can see these 2 devices are hybrid Azure AD joined but are not MDM enrolled. Okay, so let me just go back to my deck here. All right, so the first thing that we are going to do is run an SCCM discovery and install the SCCM client on the devices, so as to reach to a point wherein the devices are being managed via SCCM and the registry populates accordingly. Okay, so let me just quickly go to my SCCM server. All right, this is my SCCM server. This is my SCCM console. I have, as I said, I have SCCM running with version 1902. 1906 is still in preview, therefore I haven't had a chance to test it out. All right, so if I go to devices, the auto discovery ran automatically. Therefore, these 2 devices are already discovered. However, as you can see, it says that client is no, meaning SCCM client has not been installed on these devices. So I am going to start the demonstration with this machine, and then later on we will do something out of the box, and then we will see how exactly userless enrollment works in this device. But for now, let's just go ahead and install the SCCM client in this device. So I right click, I do SCCM client install, I do install client from the site, I do always install the client software. Okay, next, and then close. All right, so now let's just quickly go back to the device itself. And we obviously have to make sure that the end device is able to, let me just show you guys the host name. This is the device onto which we are going to do our demonstration. This is co-management dem, and this device is able to reach out to the SCCM server, and the SCCM server is able to reach out to this device. So we have to make sure that there is nothing wrong with the communication and everything is fine over there. Once that is established, as we have already pushed the SCCM client installation, we can track it from the end device as well as we can track it from the server end. So let me just show you guys how to do that. Meanwhile, let me just go to my SCCM server and make sure that I am able to reach out to this device. Go manage. Yeah. Oh, this is some other device. So ping go manage tem.intunelab.com. All right. So yeah, my device is reachable. So let me just go back to my device and see if the installation has begun. All right, my machine is running a tad bit slow. Okay, so I go to C drive and then I go to Windows. Okay, the CCM setup has been copied. You can see 347. So the CCM setup has been copied. So I presume that the installation is underway. Let's just give it a couple of minutes and then we will track the CCM setup log also, and then we'll see what exactly is going on. And once the installation is done, then we'll take it up from there. So I'm just making the CM trace as the default log file reader, and then all right, so let's see what's going on in this. Okay, so the file is open. Let's just see what's going on in the file. All right, so something is going on. However, the installation is not completed. Once the installation is done, it will exit with the return code 0. So right now, I believe that the setups has been copied. It has validated the files. The installation is still going underway, so all the files are getting installed. Let's just give it a couple of minutes and then probably we can check the logs once the installation is completed. Okay, guys, so the setup ran successfully and the installation is successful. You can see it took about 7 or 8 minutes for the entire thing to go through, and now you can see that the CCM setup ran successfully, installation was succeeded, and the CCM setup is exiting with return code 0, which means that the installation was successful. If we go and take a look over the logs now, you can see that there are more logs as compared to what we had in the beginning. And if we go back to Windows, now there is another folder called CCM created. So let's just go inside the CCM folder, and meanwhile, let's just go back to the SCCM server once. And let's just see how is the SCCM server doing. So let me just do a refresh over here, and then the status over here should change to yes, because now the client has been installed. It might take a couple of minutes here, but then the status over here will also change. All right, so while that happens, let's just go back to this machine. We've got an update for you. No, we won't do that. We won't do any updates right now. All right, so we are inside the CCM folder. Let's just go to the logs, and then all right, so there are not much logs right now. Let me just go to the control panel. Still there are some components which are running, therefore you can see that the folder count and this file count are still increasing. All right, so I don't see the applet here yet, so it might take some time. Still, okay, there you go. All right, so it has loaded up now. So right now, as you can see, if I go back to my deck, it says that at this point of time, co-management is disabled. Co-management capabilities is 1. The CCM setup log would indicate successful installation. We have already seen that. It exited with a return code 0. And the co-management handler log that has not been created yet. So at this point of time, you can see that the co-management is disabled. Co-management capabilities is 1. And the folder count is the file count is still increasing. It's still taking, I mean, it's still doing its background processing at this moment. So let's just give it a, sorry, let's just give it a couple of minutes, and then probably we'll be good to take a look over the logs that we are supposed to. And meanwhile, I can see that the co-management handler log has been created. So while that happens, we might as well just open up the co-management handler log and see what's going on inside of that. Okay, all right. Let's just open this one up. At this point of time, you can see that it says the device is not enrolled to Intune, which is absolutely correct. The device is not externally managed, device is not MDM enrolled, which is all absolutely correct. And then yeah, it's more or less telling us that the co-management capabilities right now is 1. The maximum possible is 255 in version 1902 and 1906. Maximum possible in 1802 and below is 55. So this co-management capabilities depends upon the workloads, as we discussed already in the previous nugget. So nothing much to see at this point of time in the co-management handler log. If we go back to the deck, you can see that co-management handler log would suggest the device is not MDM enrolled. We have seen this. CCM setup log we have seen, and the co-management capabilities and the co-management status is set as disabled. We have all seen this. So yeah, this is the screenshot that we talked about. We have already seen this, also this one. All right. So once the client is installed, the next thing that we are going to do is we are going to add this machine to the pilot collection in the Intune portal. Before we do that, one more thing that we can do is take a look over the registry. Reg edit. So we can just check a couple of keys just to ensure that the CCM installation was CCM setup was installed correctly while it still happens in the background. So we are going to HKLM. All right. HKLM software, Microsoft, and then CCM and CCM setup are the 2 folders we would be interested in. All right, this looks fine. Well, now I'm not an SCCM expert, but I mean, there's nothing harm in just going through the registry values just to make sure that everything is populated and everything looks good. Okay, all right. All right, looks good to me. It matches with the screenshot that we have from the working machine. So I'm just interested in seeing whether these 2 registry keys were created or not, and whether they were appropriately populated or not. So, yeah. All right. Okay, so we can just close the registry for now, and then nothing much to see in the co-management handler log at this point of time. So we can minimize the co-management handler log, probably go back to the SCCM server, and then probably do a refresh here. So we just have to wait for, okay, so right now you can see that the client installation is yes. It is showing a question mark over here. I'm expecting this to turn to a green tick. So it might take some time before that happens. And while that happens, let me just show you guys my device collection. So I have a device collection called the pilot device collection. So if we go back to the slide, it says that we have to add the device to a pilot collection and then enable co-management in the SCCM console. So this enablement of co-management in the SCCM console is a one-time job. So I have already done that, but let me just show you guys how that needs to be done. So we need to go to cloud services and then co-management. Initially, this option would not be there and this option would not be grayed out. So we have to click on configure co-management. Once we do that, then the then this page will open up. Once we click over here, this page will open up. We'll have to sign into it using our global credentials. Once we sign into it, then we will get this page wherein we can select the workloads and the scope. So over here, as we have already discussed, if we want to enable co-management for the entire infrastructure, we can select all. However, if we want to do it in a staged deployment fashion, then we can select pilot over here, and only the devices in the pilot collection will be impacted and will get co-managed. But as we already know and as we have already discussed, co-management is a state wherein the same device is being managed via two different entities. By two different entities, I mean SCCM and Intune at the same point. So obviously, if Intune is also there in the picture, that means that the device needs to be enrolled to Intune. Therefore, once we set up this co-management thing, the first thing that happens is automatic enrollment in Intune. That's the first thing that's going to happen. If we target it to pilot, then all the devices in the pilot collection will get enrolled to Intune automatically, or at least an attempt would be made to enroll those devices automatically. Workload, as we have already spoken about that, let me just revert the workload, all of them, to client apps. To config manager. That's how you would get it the first time you set it up. Right now you can see that I have got eight workloads, or seven workloads. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, yeah, seven workloads. Client apps is something which comes up once you approve it. From here in the features, you have to go over here, right click, and then approve it. I have already done that. Therefore you can see that all the workloads are there. Okay, all right, let's just go back. So the workloads are, did I not click on apply? What's happening? Okay. All right, so now the workloads are all defaulted to staging. That's how we are going to get it. And over here, this is where we add that pilot collection. So we can add all the collection over here. We can add a specific collection over here, and that is the collection which is going to get auto enrolled and is going to get targeted for co-management policies. So, all right, looks good to me over here. Let's just go back to assets and compliance and then devices. Okay, so right now we can see that there is a green tick over here, which means that everything is set. So now we just have to add this device onto the pilot collection. So let me just do that now. All right. Add selected items to an existing device collection, and we are going to add it to the pilot device collection. And if I do a OK over here, then in a while the device should get added into that pilot device collection. So if I go back to the pilot device collection and if I do a refresh over here, then the device should be present. So add a resource. Okay. Okay, let's just do it like this. Okay. All right, let's just change tabs, come back and see if it has already been added. Yeah, okay. So the device is now there in the pilot device collection. All right, so let's just see what does our deck say now. This is something that we have already done. All right. This is just a part of that just 4 clicks which we discussed. We've already seen this. So right now you can see that it says co-management is enabled. This would happen when the device gets enrolled to Intune. And all right, and once the device is enrolled, this is what we'll see. So let's just track back our steps. Okay, So what happens right now is once we add the device to the collection, a config policy is sent to the device from the SCCM console, and this device has two information in it. First, the information of workload, and second, it tells the device that now you are part of a collection which is targeted via SCCM. Therefore, now you should get yourself enrolled to Intune. So if I go back and if I go back to the administration co-management, and if I click on this view XML definition, then we can actually get the policy ID, the policy that is sent down to the device. And this actually is the policy ID, the configuration policy ID, that is 28. This is the policy ID I'm talking about, starting with 28 and ending with 846. So this policy will be sent down to the device. It will tell the device that you need to get yourself co-managed. That is first, before co-managed, obviously it needs to get itself enrolled to Intune. So that is what the device is now going to do. So if we come back to the device over here, and if I go to the control, I mean the applet, all right. Okay, looks good to me. Actions. All right, looks good to me. Let me just run a sync from the device end. Okay, so I just ran a sync from the device end as well. And if we go back over here, somewhere over here, we should be able to see that the device is getting the policy. All right. Co-management is disabled because the device is not enrolled yet. Co-management capabilities is 1. And all right, so this is the policy that I was talking about, the policy starting with 28 and ending with 846. This is the policy that comes down to the device and tells the device that now you need to update your status, now you need to enroll yourself to Intune. And okay, let me just open up. Okay, all right, let me just go back to the deck. So now a configuration policy is sent to the device from the SCCM console. The policy will tell it that you need to get yourself enrolled to Intune, and the policy is sent. It will keep on trying to get the device enrolled. So this is something that we already did. Once the enrollment is done, uh, then that is when we can check the registry to see what does it look like. So now it brings us to the question that how does the enrollment happens. So this is an important point. The enrollment will happen when a user logs into the device who has a EMS license assigned to it. So it can be a on-prem user or it can be a cloud user, but he needs to have a EMS license assigned to it. Once the user logs in, that is when the enrollment is triggered, and the enrollment happens the same way as it would in case of enrollment via group policy. That is, a scheduled task is created, and that scheduled task runs and gets the device enrolled. There is one more way of getting the device enrolled, and for that I have another machine ready. We will take a look over that later on, which talks about userless enrollment. That is for, if I don't log into the device with a user who has a EMS license, what happens in that case. However, let's just for now let's just concentrate on the part when a user logs into the device with the EMS license, and when he does, then we will be able to see that the co-management handler log, in the co-management handler log we'll be able to see that the device is getting automatically enrolled to Intune via SCCM. Okay, so at this point of time, let me just check what is the user that I've used to log in. Who am I? I've logged into this device using a credential called Greg S. And if I go to my domain controller, and if I right click over here, if I do a find, if I find this user, if I double click on this user, I go to accounts, you can see that actually what the thing is, my on-prem domain is not verified. Therefore, I have added a suffix over here with the name @nuggetlabs.onmicrosoft.com, which is my cloud identity. And to this Greg S user, I have already assigned an EMS license to this user. So if I go to Microsoft Intune, users, and then all users, and then if I search for Greg S, so nope, this is not the one, the other one. Gregis@nuggetlabs.onmicrosoft.com. If I go to licenses, the user already has a license assigned to him. Therefore, the user who was logged into the machine already had a EMS license assigned to it. Therefore, I'm expecting that the enrollment should happen seamlessly without the user having to log off and log into the device again. Okay, so as I said, this is the policy that is pushed down to the device. And okay, all right, so the Windows update policy was still uh, set to pilot Intune. So that's why if I go to the device right now, I will be able to see that the device is actually getting a value of co-management capabilities of 17. So let me just RDP into the machine once again, and then I'll show you guys. Okay, so I'm back into the machine again. So let me just open up the control panel, and also let's just open up the co-management handler log, and then let's see what's going on in the co-management handler log. I just want to show you guys the co-management handler log again. A better example would had been if I was not logged into the machine using a credential using who had the EMS license, and then if I logged off and I logged back in, that is when the enrollment would have happened. However, as I was already logged in using a credential who had the EMS license, the device already got enrolled. At this point of time, you can see that co-management is enabled. Co-management capabilities is 17 because guys, I showed you that the Windows update was still on. I mean, the Windows update workload was still offloaded to Intune, and its value is 16. Therefore, 16 plus 1, which is by default for SCCM, is 17. Therefore, that's what the value of co-management capabilities is at this point of time. So if I go to Windows and if I go to CCM and if I go to logs, I can actually show you guys how exactly it happened. So okay, so the co-management handler log is now open. So let me just go all the way to the down, and then let's just see what happened in the co-management handler log. So I'm just going. Okay, so at this point of time, it says that the device is not MDM enrolled. All the workloads are managed by SCCM. Everything was fine. Every device is still not MDM enrolled. All the workloads are managed by SCCM. Let's just keep going down. This is wherein, no, not here. At some point, the configuration policy will kick in, and that is when the device will get enrolled to Intune. And all right, so over here you can see that the device is trying to enroll itself to MDM. So the device tries to the device tries a couple of times, and this is wherein you can see the configuration policy that I was talking about. So the device is going to try to enroll itself to Intune a couple of times, And at this point of time, if the user who is logged into the device is not having EMS license assigned to it, then the enrollment would not happen. It would, right now you can see it's trying 1 of 3, it will then try 2 of 3, and then 3 of 3, and then it will try again and again on successive logons. If it still doesn't work, then at one point of time it will just give up and it will go ahead with a userless enrollment. However, since the user at this point of time who was logged in was an admin and had a EMS license assigned to it, therefore the enrollment was successful seamlessly. So it says trying 1 of 3, and then it is trying using the credentials and then merged value of auto enrollment. Over here, the value of the co-management capability is getting set to 17, and it now says that the new merged workload flag value with co-management max capability 255 is 17, and then it says that the MDM enrollment was successful. So over here you can see that the MDM enrollment was successfully done, and then right now what I did was I pushed the I changed the workload. So every time I change the workload, the same configuration policy is going to get pushed down to the device again and again, which is going to successively tell the device that now the value of workload needs to be changed. Now the new value is supposed to be 1. Therefore, let me just do this. Let me just go over here. You can see that the value is still 17. So if I run an inventory cycle, then what I'm expecting is that the policy will come down from SCCM again, and now the latest workload should be 1 because everything has been offloaded back to SCCM. So all right, so let me just go back over here. Let me just go back to the co-management handler log. It might take a couple of minutes. Okay, so I can see something is already happening, and then it says that the new workloads are again merged. Maximum value 255. Over here you can see that the configuration policy, the same configuration policy came down to this device at 4:35 p.m., which is the current time, and then the value should be set to 1. All right, so the new merged value is 1. So if I open up the applet again, now it will show me that the value of co-management capabilities is 1. Yeah, rightly so. At this point of time, the device is co-managed and the co-management capabilities is 1, and everything has been, and the workload, all the workloads in from the SCCM point of view is still in SCCM. So nothing has been offloaded to Intune at this point of time. The device is being managed via SCCM. The only thing that has been done is that the device has been enrolled to Intune. Okay, so let me just go back to the device now and show you guys the registry once again. So reg edit, and then we will be able to see a couple of things in the registry. We'll be able to see how exactly the device got enrolled. If the device gets enrolled via SCCM, then we see something called a foo user who is enrolling the device. Even though it used the credential of the user who is logged into the device, the foo user actually suggests that the enrollment was not manual, but the enrollment was triggered by SCCM. So if I go to Microsoft and then CCM, well, the user would actually come under the enrollment tab. So that would be under HKLM software, Microsoft, and then I believe it's MDM, or is it enrollments? Okay, yeah, this is the key for getting a device enrolled to Intune. So enrollments, if I expand this, all these entries are created. So out of all these IDs that you can see on the left hand side, there is only one which is relevant. In this case, it's the first one. If I click on that, I can see that the device was enrolled using config manager. It followed a config manager enrollment, and the UPN that was used to enroll this device was foo user. However, on the contrary, if I enroll a device the normal way, that is if I go to start and then settings and then access work or school, and if I click on connect and enroll the device from there, then in that case over here we will be able to see the UPN of the user who has enrolled the device. However, in this case, in case of enrollment via SCCM, we see something like a foo user and not the user who was logged into the device, thereby suggesting that the enrollment was done using config manager. I mean, the enrollment triggered using config manager and not the conventional way. Okay, so if now I go to settings and accounts, I should be able to see that the device is enrolled to Intune. Moreover, if I go back to the portal, I should be able to see an entry of this device. If I go to Microsoft Intune, devices, all devices, now rightly so, you can see that the co-management dem account is over here. That's the device name. It is managed by mdm/config manager. Ownership is corporate, so any device that is enrolled via SCCM gets enrolled as a corporate device. And the compliance, it says that see config manager, it is because all the workload are currently at config manager and not at Intune. And then the last check-in time is today, a few minutes back. So if I go back to the device and if I go to accounts, and then I'm going to click on access work or school, and at this point of time we'll be able to see that the device is co-managed and everything is okay. So over here, if I click over here, it gives us this option called info, which suggests that the device is co-managed, and meaning which suggests the device is enrolled to Intune. Otherwise it would, over here you would see something called enroll only in device management. That option is not there. It gives us an option of running a sync over here. So this option comes up once the device gets enrolled to Intune. So one more thing that I can show you guys, if I go to command prompt and quickly run a command, the dsreg command, so dsreg cmd space slash sda status. I'm really sorry about the spelling. All right. Now I should be able to see the enrollment URL also, thereby confirming that everything is correct. Okay, these are the enrollment URLs. Okay. And this one. These are the MDM URLs that you can see, and the device is enrolled to Intune. The device is Azure AD joined, yes. The device is domain joined, yes. Device is joined to Azure AD as well as domain. Therefore, it's called hybrid Azure AD join. And all right. Okay, not much to see here, but I mean, the point that I'm trying to make was that I did not go to access or start. I mean, I did not enroll it the conventional way. I did not click over here and then enter the username and password like we usually do and then get the device enrolled. The device, I was already logged into the device using a credential that had the EMS license assigned to it. I just added the device onto the pilot collection, and the device got seamlessly enrolled to Intune. So that is how easy it is. So if I just wanted to show you guys one more thing, that is the task scheduler. So as we spoke during our previous nugget, it is the scheduled task that enrolls the device to Intune. So at this point of time, as I said, everything is being managed via SCCM because the workloads are as SCCM. However, the device related information is still sent to Intune. Therefore, the device still, the hardware inventory also gets updated to Intune. So if I go to hardware, I can see the related information, and I can still do a retire or a delete from the Intune portal. So I still have the option of running a factory reset of this device from Intune, or delete. I mean, obviously I can delete the device from Intune as well, which is going to unenroll the device from Intune. Okay, let's just go back over here. At this point of time, we can lock the device, also reset the device, wipe the device. If we, at this point of time, we check the co-management handler log, it would show that all the workloads are managed by SCCM, which is in our case because we have offloaded everything back to SCCM like it should be. And at this point of time, if we go to Access Worker School account, we can see the entry over there. And if we click on, I mean, like we would in case of normal enrollment, if we go over Access Worker School, we can see the info button. If we click on the info button, we can see the SIG button, thereby implying that the device is enrolled to Intune. Okay, so far so good. All right, so all right, this is something which you have already seen for user. The device is now managed via MDM/config manager. We can see that UPN is the UPN that is associated with it is the UPN that was used to log into the device. So at this point of time, probably it is not updated. I'm not exactly sure. It still says unassigned. Probably we can run a couple of syncs. Okay, right now the UPN is not showing up, but I'm sure it will in a couple of minutes. All right, and what else? Let's see. All right, co-management handler log. Okay, in the co-management handler log, we were able to see that the MDM enrollment was successful. Over here also it is trying for the first time, and once the MDM enrollment was done, this is from a machine wherein the SCCM version was 1802. Therefore, it says that the maximum co-management capability is 55. However, a similar policy was sent down to the device. In our case, the co-management value is 255, and similarly, the policy was sent down to the device. We can also see the event viewer, and which I'll show you guys right now, and I will show you guys the task scheduler as well. So which actually shows that the scheduled task is created, which enrolls the device to Intune. So all right. So the location of task scheduler is Microsoft Windows and then Enterprise MGMT. So let's just go over there and see how does it looks. All right, I'm still waiting on it to load up. Okay, so finally, I think it has. Let me just expand this so that you can see it better. All right, so you can see that there is a folder called Enterprise MGMT which has been created. So if I expand the Enterprise MGMT, I can see that there is this key which is created. And if I click on that, I should be able to see the scheduled task which were created. So it says that scheduled to run the OMADM client, scheduled to run the OMADM client, schedule created by the enrollment client for renewal of certificate bonding. So these are all related to the enrollment, the auto enrollment which were created. And if I click on any of them, and if I click on actions, you can see that what it is doing, it is going to the installer folder and then running a file called device enroller.exe. So these exes are actually responsible for getting the device seamlessly enrolled to Intune. So this scheduled task is actually how the enrollment is triggered, and this scheduled task is actually created either via the group policy or in this case via SCCM once the device is added to the SCCM collection. Okay. All right. So this is something that we have seen, and then yep, we were able to see the same thing, and the device enroller is an API for MDM enrollment. Okay. And userless enrollment is something that we'll see later. So I have another device which I'll get enrolled again and then log into it using a credential which is not having EMS license assigned to it, and then I'll show you guys how exactly it's happening in that case. All right. Meanwhile, well, one of the things that at this point of time, the recommendation is that go to SCCM, even though you are not off, even if you don't want to make use of Intune, still get your devices co-managed and then go to the SCCM console and offload the workload of compliance to Intune. And once the compliance is offloaded to Intune, then the compliance policy will come from Intune and mark the device as compliant or not compliant. And depending upon that, we can actually leverage something called conditional access. Okay, so now guys, I'm going to illustrate to you the user-less enrollment part of the demo. So for that reason, what I did was, as I said, I have got one more machine. So until now, we have been doing the demonstration on co-managed demo. There's another machine called co-management 2. This device is in the domain, but is not enrolled to Intune. So let me just show you guys. If I go over here, just once again, really quickly, under all devices, I cannot see that device, but under Azure AD devices, I will be able to see that device as hybrid Azure AD joint. So this is the one. So let's just quickly go back to the machine, co-managed 2, and let's just do the entire drill again. So I'll quickly go to assets and compliance and then devices. And all right, so this is the device. I just want to make sure that the device is reachable from here. So ping co managed manage 2. I think I misspelled it. All right, so ping comanagd 2.intunelab.com. The device is reachable. Let me just initiate an install client from here. Okay, always install the client from the site. Next, next, finish, close. So now the installation of client is beginning. At this point of time, the device is not joined into the pilot collection. So all that is going to happen now is that the device is going to get the SCCM client and will be manageable via SCCM. So let me just minimize this. Let me just go back to the client here, and I just have to wait it out. I just have to give it some time before the installer files get copied over in the similar way, and then we will take it up from there. So guys, now I believe that the installation should have been successful. So let's just go back over here, and yeah, it says that exiting with return code 0 and that the installation was succeeded. So let me just close this here. Meanwhile, if I go to this PC and if I go to C drive and then Windows, now I should be able to see CCM as well as CCM setup, rightly so. If I go to CCM and then if I go to logs, let's just open up the co-management handler log and see what the co-management handler log has to say. So, all right, so at this point of time, the machine is not co-managed and the machine is not enrolled, obviously. So let's just see what is it saying. Device is not enrolled to Intune, device is not provisioned. Device is not provisioned, device is not enrolled to Intune, device is not enrolled to Intune. Yeah, okay, looks good. The device is not a part of the pilot collection and the device is not enrolled as it should not be. So that looks good. For some reason, yeah, okay, the applet is here. It took a while for the applet to show up. So if I double click on it, the co-management should be disabled and the co-management capabilities is 1. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this device onto the pilot collection again. However, on contrary to what we did the last time, this time the user who is logged into the device is going to be a cloud user, is going to be an admin, but will not be having an EMS license assigned to it. So let me just show you guys. Let me just do a who am I, and the user who is logged in is named Harry. He is created on-prem and is synced to the cloud. So if I go into the portal, if I go to Microsoft Intune users, and if I show you that user, let me just show you guys the user. So everything is set, just that I've removed the EMS license from this user. Okay, so now let me just add this device to the pilot collection, and now we will see that the attempt to make this device enrolled is going to happen, but the device should not actually get enrolled initially. So I am going into the console again, and this is the co-managed 2 device. So if I refresh it, it should show, yeah, it is showing as green now. So if I right click on it, add selected items to an existing device collection. So I am going to add it to the pilot device collection and do a OK. Now if I go to the pilot device collection, we'll have to wait for a couple of minutes, and then the device should be a part of it. So All right, let's just give it a minute here. All right, so now you can see that in the pilot device collection, the co-managed device is has been added. So once the device has been added onto the pilot collection, again the same configuration policy is going to be pushed down, which we can see in the co-management handler log. And now we will see that the device will make attempt to get enrolled. However, the enrollment will not actually happen because the user does not have the license assigned to him. So guys, surprisingly, actually, we can see that the device did get enrolled to Intune. So at this point of time, we can see that the machine is already enrolled in MDM, and the machine got enrolled to Intune after the enrollment was triggered. So at some point okay, so this is where the enrollment is starting. It's using the AAD device credentials, and somewhere over here the MDM enrollment is succeeding over here, and then it's getting the value of co-management capabilities. So by this we can conclude that even though EMS license is not assigned, the enrollment does happen successfully on the first attempt. However, I would be curious to see what exactly the behavior is if the user who is assigned is a local admin and is not a cloud admin. I mean, does that make any difference if there were? So let me do this. I'm just going to create one more machine and then resume the video wherein I am going to do the entire thing while I am logged into the machine using a local admin, and then see if there is any change in behavior. So guys, now I have the new virtual machine ready with me. So let me just show you guys. I created a machine called Win10, and this machine is currently not co-managed and it does not have the SCCM client installed in it. As over here, you can see that client is no. So let me just get it to speed. Let me just install the SCCM client of this machine. And before adding it back into the pilot collection, this time we are going to do it a little differently. We are going to be logged into the machine as a local admin rather than a account which is there synced to the cloud, and see if there is any difference. See if we are able to see errors like this which says that license of the user is in bad state, because my expectation is seeing this message, which is what I saw when I tried to enroll, I mean when I tried to do the repro for the first time with a user who did not have the EMS license assigned to it. However, maybe some things have changed at the back end, so now I just want to see the variation, if any, if a user logs in as a local admin rather than as a user who has a EMS license or does not have a EMS license assigned to him but is synced to the cloud. So let's just wait for the installation to go through, and once the installation is done, then we will resume the video and take it from there. Okay guys, so it has been around 10 minutes, so let's just go back into the device. Okay, so we are back into the Windows 10 machine, and now we can see that the installation was done. Setup is exiting with return code 0. Let's just quickly open up the co-management handler log. And then, as usual, the co-management handler log should say that the device is not enrolled to Intune and the workloads are all set to 1, like it should be. So yeah, device is not enrolled to Intune and the workload is still set to 1. Okay, all right, so far so good. Let me just open up the applet, the config manager applet, and over there, let's just take a quick look. All right, there you go. All right, co-management capabilities is 1, co-management is disabled. Now what we are going to do, I am firstly going to log into this machine using a local admin credential, and then I will be joining, I mean adding this machine onto the pilot collection, and then we'll be seeing what is the difference in the flow of the log. Does the enrollment happen instantly, or does it try over and over and over again and shows that the license is not there and whatnot? So I am going to go to actions, control alt delete, and then I am going to log into this machine using /local admin. It's not local admin, it is called local user, and the password for this. All right. So while this adds up, while we log into this machine in the background, once the login is done, I'll go back and I will add this machine onto the palette collection. Let me just go to my SCCM, and then let me just do a refresh here. So, all right, looks good to me. Add selected items to an existing device collection. I want to add it to the palette device collection, but not just yet because I want, okay, all right. So there you go. I am logged into this machine. Let me just right click. All right, hold on. CMD. Who am I? I'm logged in using a local user, which is happens to be a local admin. So let me just see. Let me just add this machine onto the group, the palette group, and see how exactly the flow for enrollment is this time. Okay, so I'm going back into the SCCM server now, and all right, there you go. Okay, I'm going to add it to the palette collection. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to go to the device collection and then palette device collection. Probably wait out for a couple of minutes, and then I should be able to see the Win10 device over here. So, all right, so now it looks good. Palette collection, and then in the palette collection, Win10 machine is there. So now and at this point of time, I'm logged into the Win10 machine using a local admin credential. So let's just quickly open up the co-management handler log, run a few syncs, and then see what exactly does it say. All right, I'm opening up the config manager applet, and then I'm going to go back to C drive, and then Windows, and then CCM, and then logs, and I'm looking for the co-management handler log. All right, so 256 a couple of minutes back. So let me just run the cycles again. Okay, so I don't see all of them populated yet, so probably it is still waiting. Okay guys, so I've given it a couple of minutes, so let me just open up the config manager again, and over here if I go to actions now, yeah, I can see that all the actions have now populated. Let me just quickly run a sync again, and then we will go over to the co-management handler log and see what exactly it has got to say. Okay, so this is the co-management handler log. So let's just see what is happening in the co-management log in this case. And I suspect the enrollment should not have happened until now. All right, so we were already here. This is all at 2:45 p.m. So let me just show you guys the date and time as well. So, all right. So this is still at 2:45 a.m. local timing. So this is when the device was not added into the palette group. And at some time around 2:50 is when I added the device onto the palette collection. So you can see that it still says that the device is not MDM enrolled. And then co-management is disabled but expected to be enabled. The device is not enrolled to Intune. Device is not MDM enrolled. All the workloads are managed by SCCM. Okay, it's getting some policy here. And over here it says that the device is not enrolled to Intune. Successfully queued MDM enrollment. So this is something like what we saw in the screenshot for the logs. And then says that it's still not enrolled. Workload still managed by SCCM. Okay, device is not provisioned. Okay, let's just keep going. All right, so device is not MDM enrolled. Over here we can see something like this which says that try 1 out of 3. So it's trying to enroll the device, and then enrolling device with using the Azure AD credential. It is trying to use the user's credential, And then it says that need user interaction to continue, AAD user needs to log in. So it's not looking apparently for the enrollment to happen at this point of time. It is not looking for a user with the license, but it is looking for an Azure AD user. It says it will try on next policy evaluation schedule or next user log on. The device is still not enrolled, successfully queued MDM enrollment. And then all right, showing the same thing again. Try one of three and then using AD credential. The user needs to log in and then device is not enrolled yet. So this is something very interesting. This is a good find here. So I mean, I was under an impression that if the user has a EMS license, the device will be enrolled instantly. If the user does not have an EMS license, then it's going to take a lot of time. It is going to do the 1 out of 3, 2 of 3, 3 of 3, and then eventually it's going to get enrolled as a userless device. However, what we saw was in the first case, the user who had the EMS license was logged into the device got enrolled seamlessly and successfully. In the second case, the user who was logged into the device did not have an EMS license but was a AAD user. In that case also, the device got seamlessly enrolled. However, the device was not attributed to a user. So if I go over here and if I run a refresh, so the new device is not showing. And yesterday we had two devices. The co-management dem device looks fine. However, the other device, it still has the device management name as I mean, there is some ID and no other information has been populated. So this is still a userless device. On contrary, this device is correctly populated and the device is checking in. So all right, so what we are going to do is we are now going to give it some time. We are not going to log into the machine yet using a AAD credential. We will be leaving it like this for probably 3 or 4 hours, and then meanwhile I'll be checking the co-management handler log. I'll be taking snippets and I'll show you guys what exactly ends up happening in this device. But yes, this is a good find. So let me just summarize this for you. If the user who is logged into the device is a AAD user and has a EMS license assigned to him, LICENSE, has a license assigned to him, the device is enrolled and it is attributed to a user. However, if the account who is logged in is a AAD user plus does not have an EMS license assigned to it, the device does get enrolled. However, the device is not attributed to any user. So not attributed to a user. However, in both the cases, the enrollment happens instantly, as we have seen in both the cases. However, if the user who is logged in is a local admin or a local user, obviously if it's a local user, he would not have the EMS license assigned to him. Then again, the device will get eventually enrolled after several attempts. Sorry about that. However, the device will not be attributed to a user. The same thing follows over here as well. However, the only difference being the enrollment doesn't happen instantly. So as of now, you can see that it has been around 13 or 14 minutes and the device is still not enrolled to Intune. However, in the first two cases, we saw that in both the cases, the device did get enrolled to Intune. So this is a good finding over right here. So I'll make sure that I'll inculcate it into the deck, and let's just, as I said, let's just give it a couple of hours and let's just see what is the change in behavior. And I'm not going to log into the machine yet using a AAD credential. I'll just wait it out and I'll see how exactly the logs look. Okay, guys, so it has been around 3 hours that we added the Windows 10 machine into the co-management palette collection. So let's just quickly check the machine and see what exactly is going on. So now you can see that the time is 6:05 a.m., which is 3 hours later. So I just rebooted the machine and I logged into it using the same local user credential, which is a local admin and is not a synced to the Azure AD. So now let's just see what has happened, what has transpired in past 3 hours or so. So we saw the logs until 3:40. Everything was fine. After that, it still says that the device is not enrolled to Intune, not MDM managed. And if we keep going down, it tells us the same thing. Device is not MDM enrolled. All the workloads are managed by SCCM. And then again, it tries enrolling device to MDM 1 out of 3. It tries to use the AAD credentials. However, I mean, the credential is a local admin, it's not an AAD. Over here, we see something familiar, which says that retry period for user logon is over. Next time a user logs on, the enrollment will be triggered without randomization. This is something which we have seen in the screenshot. So, all right. So that is where we are 3 hours later. So I am going to keep monitoring this device. Probably 5 or 6 hours later, again, we will see what's the status, and then we will touch base probably 24 hours later, and then see when exactly does the userless enrollment actually happen in case of a user who is logged in, who is a local admin, and is not an AAD account. Alright, guys, so it has been now about a few more hours. So let's just take a look over what the co-management handler log has to say. So I'm just logging into the machine about 1 day later, around 24 hours later, and I'm checking the co-management handler log now. So as you can see, it's showing us more or less the same thing. The configuration policy is down in the device on the next date, that is on the 29th now. The device is not MDM enrolled. If I keep going down, at some point I see something like this. There you go. It is trying to enroll the device. Enrolling device with registered device with management using AD device credential. It tries to enroll using the device credential, and then the MDM enrollment is succeeded. So we did not see anything like what we saw in the deck, wherein it was saying that bad license or something like that. We didn't see that. However, what we can conclude is in this case also the enrollment happened. It was a userless enrollment, and since the user who was logged in was a local admin, did not have a license, there was no user assigned to the device. So the enrollment did happen, and let me just come all the way down and see. Okay, so succeeded to set. So not much to see here. I just wanted to show you guys how it, I mean, whether it's the device credential that is doing the enrollment, or whether it is the user credential that is doing the enrollment. So if I go to the portal right now, in the portal I can see the Windows 10 device. However, I do not see any user that is associated with the device, meaning that the device is userless. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So the device did get enrolled. However, it took quite an amount of time for the device to get enrolled, and we are able to see that the device got enrolled using the device credential and not the user credential. Okay, guys, so I just wanted to make sure that we all reach to the same conclusion at the end of this demo. So we enrolled three different machines, and depending upon the way the machines behaved, and depending upon the previous experience that I have had with the auto enrollment via SCCM of devices, this is what we can conclude. If the logged in user is a cloud user, when I say cloud user, it can be a user created on the cloud, or it can be a user created on-prem and then synced to the cloud. In both the cases, if the logged in user is a cloud only user with EMS license assigned to it, that's the important part. In that case, the enrollment happens instantly. However, if the user who is and the device gets tagged with a user, So the enrollment will happen in the first attempt itself, and once the enrollment is done, when we'll go into the Intune portal, we'll be able to see the UPN of the user that was used to enroll the device. However, if the user who was logged in was a cloud user but did not have a EMS license assigned to him, or he was a local admin. In both the cases, obviously, in if he's a local admin, then obviously he wouldn't have a EMS license. So in both the cases, the device will eventually get enrolled, and the device will be enrolled as you can say it will be enrolled without user affinity, meaning that there will be no user assigned to this device, and when we'll go into the Intune portal, we'll be able to see that there is no user attributed to the device. However, as we saw, there was a little variation on the timeline. In case of a local admin, the enrollment took a lot of time. However, in case of the cloud only user without EMS license, it was considerably faster. However, in both the cases, the expectation is in both the cases, the enrollment will eventually happen, and the enrollment will happen without user affinity. However, depending upon the case, you might in some cases see that it's triggering enrollment many a times, and then it is giving you a log saying that enrollment was triggered, enrollment has been queued, enrollment failed due to bad license. However, in some cases, you might see that it tried for a couple of times, and in the third time itself it will try using the Azure AD device credential, and it will get enrolled automatically. So the conclusion, so this is the conclusion from here. The considering factor or the determining factor here is the EMS license. If it's not there, the device is not tagged to the user and is userless. However, if it is there, then the device is enrolled the usual way and the correct way. Let me just show you guys something. So this is my SCCM, and meanwhile I took the liberty of making some changes. So now if I go into about configuration manager, you can see that my SCCM version has now been upgraded to 1906. So let me just show you guys the difference as we were talking in the previous nugget and in the slide. One of the differences that comes in with the new version of co-management is, the new version of SCCM is that changes in the co-management features. So let's just take a look over what is new over here. So yeah, okay. So over here you can see in the enablement tab, nothing has changed. We still have to select a palette collection and enable the automatic enrollment. Workload is still the same workloads. However, when we go into staging, we can see that for each workload that we have enabled over here, these 1, 2, 3, 4, we have the option of choosing a collection respectively. So if I were to select the client apps as well, select a palette collection, okay. So it won't let me set it up unless and until I select a palette collection from here. So I can choose the same collection as the other, or I can choose a different collection altogether. In this case, I'm choosing the same one, but that is not the case each time. So this was actually done because of the feedback that Microsoft received. So now with the version of 1906 and SCCM, co-management gives the end users the ability of linking different palette group to each workload, thereby giving more granular approach into how to manage the devices. So that's just it. The process of enrollment of devices is going to be the same, and the workload collection and everything is going to be the same. It is just that for each workload we can now target a different palette collection and manage it like that. So that's pretty much it, guys. This is all that I wanted to show you guys. I wanted to deploy the SCCM client in front of you guys, and then show you how exactly the enrollment is happening, and then walk you through the logs and show you guys the difference between with user affinity enrollment versus an enrollment that happens when a local admin or a user without a EMS license logs into the device. And then I wanted to show you guys what exactly co-management workloads are and how the co-management capabilities are set and whatnot. So that's pretty much it, guys. And if you guys remember the previous nugget wherein I showed you what Brad had to say about co-management, that it is just 4 clicks away and there are no costs involved. And well, what the recommendation is that even if you don't want to deploy any policies or any applications from Intune, just move the workload for compliance, set the compliance policy from Intune, and then the whole infrastructure can work in conjunction with conditional access. So thereby we can make the use of the power of cloud. So just 4 clicks away, guys. Just get this set up and make use of this wonderful feature. So guys, I hope this has been informative for you and like to thank you for viewing. This is your friend Saurabh Sarkar signing off.